Welcome back, everyone. We hope you're having a lot of fun and gaining a lot of interesting insights from the session so far. We're only halfway through the day and we have plenty more activities planned for you. Be sure to check them out on the agenda page on the TechHR India website. For our next session, we have an interesting case study on caring culture, personalized, holistic, and asynchronous benefits, where our speakers will be discussing about how balanced is their wellness wheel and also share their experience and roadblocks in finding that right balance. Please help me in welcoming Rahul Sinha, CHRO, Pidilite Industries Limited, and Pramey Jain, CEO, Tartan and Batik. Over to you, Pramey.
Welcome everybody. We have Rahul Sinha, Chief Human Resource Officer from Pidilite, with us. To talk with us about employee benefits and how does it help their organization drive motivation and build culture within the teams. So a quick introduction. I'm Pramey, founder and CEO at Tartan. We are building a product called Batik with a very big mission, basically to help HR and CHRO fraternity to help millions of workforce in India and globally become financially healthier and have a happy work life. Basically, our solution is a one-stop marketplace for employee benefits that covers whole suite of financial, non-financial, physical, mental, and medical well-being, and multiple rewards and recognition programs. So welcome again, Rahul, to the discussion. So I would just start and jump into questions right away. In today's world, how important is for any organization to have a holistic benefit strategy outside of salaries and ESOPs? And as part of your organization culture to drive employee satisfaction and happiness, how do you strategize employee benefits and more so in post-COVID era?
Thank you, Pramey. First and foremost, I think it's a very important topic of discussion that you have picked. Today's world, incidentally, Pramey, is not very different than the past. It has always been very important to think of your employees as the central driving force.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think of your employees, with every passing year, the benefits that you offer, some of it will start becoming table stakes. Today, for example, the fact that you will have a fair and equitable salary being offered to your employee is considered a table stake, right? If you can't do that, then definitely you are not in the game. Similarly, offering a safe workplace, offering a good work culture is considered to be a table stake. Pre-COVID, there were a lot of things which were considered innovative. Like, for example, having a health and wellness program, having a focus on mental wellness of your employees. Not that it was not there, it was already there because we were one of those companies which had all this even before COVID. But what we realized is that post-COVID, these have become now the central offer. These have become the important idea. And how important it has become, you can understand from this that the adoption rate to something like a mental health program has jumped from somewhere between 1.5% to now about 6-7% of the employee base every month.
Okay.
So that's how it has become important. It's gaining traction. The area of ensuring that you have programs which are proactively building wellness, host of stuff, early morning yogas and weekly Zumba classes, and ensuring that you have you're promoting contests with promote healthy cooking. All those kind of things are actually becoming more and more important. The second layer that has become very relevant these days is the whole idea of financial security. People want to have a financial security around them, as well as people want to have financial freedom. We have also now got into that space. We have tied up with a leading brand for people to get some amount of financial flexibility.
mm,
If they're running out of their funds, if they are low on funds and need to have a bridging, then from their earned wages they can take an advance. So those kind of products have also become popular. This is
mm,
something that we tied up during the COVID period, and it's just got streamlined. So let's see how it progresses. The third area, which is actually the evergreen area but has become
mm,
center stage, is the
mm,
amount of time that people are now spending on learning and development.
mm,
And that's an area that we caught very early in COVID. We realized that this is becoming central.
mm,
It is not as glamorous or as uh, talked about as the benefits I talked just in the last 2-3 minutes. But we put investments in creating a anywhere access to any program of learning for every employee of the company. So making learning and development democratic and removing the two biggest problem areas. The biggest problem area in learning and development is that it is considered to be a service for elites. It's not considered a service for every employee.
yep,
The second thing is there's this whole element of nominate karwao, boss ko bolo, HR ko bolo. So eliminate all of that.
mm,
You know, and once it goes on a mobile phone
mm,
and it is more video based, you have a very different learnability campaign.
mm,
And that investment, I think, is the one which we made somewhere in the beginning of this calendar year, is the one that's going to be the most discerning change
mm.
for the next 1 year or so. So, Pramey, coming and wrapping back, I think for a company like Pidilite that values its employees and focuses on becoming a place where there is pleasure to work, it's part of our vision statement. If we have that in the vision statement, we must have it in practice.
Mm.
Uh, we are very focused on providing employees a strong combination of all these three: wellness, security, and learning and growth. And we'll continue to keep doing this because we believe this is central.
Great. I think this is great to hear that there is so much focus on creating value outside just only the work and the regular wages. My next question is basically to understand. You mentioned the adoption rate was very low pre-COVID, and even today it's still 6 to 7% in many benefit programs that you run. So, what is the biggest challenge or roadblock you face in delivering benefits, in identifying the benefits, and also how do you think technology can solve to deliver your efforts to make them realize that hey, you really care, you really value your colleagues?
Good question. See, some of the benefits are naturally more preferred, like having a intranet and intercompany contests, intra-company contest, intercompany as in our between our group companies, uh, programs of celebration and all.
Hmm.
We see adoption rates of 90-95%.
Okay.
Learning and development, which is a 6-month-old platform, our adoption rate is now at 70%.
Hmm.
And when we say adoption rate, we mean accessed every month.
Hmm.
So last month access rates are like this. These are the kind of things which will see huge traction.
Okay.
Some benefits are designed to be electives, like mental health.
Hmm.
Uh, for mental health program, it should be there and needed when you need it.
Hmm.
When when you need it, it should be available. Sorry. Uh, those are like first aid kits at your home. There,
Hmm.
I'm not focused on adoption rate. There, I'm focused on the fact that it is available.
Hmm.
Uh, being able to access your earned wages is an elective. It should
Hmm.
be available. I am not worried about the adoption rate.
Hmm.
You know, it is like how a restaurant would design itself and say, I must have a lounge, I must have these things on my menu. Then you don't worry about adoption rate of the menu.
Hmm.
uh, the the sum total, the bouquet, is what is beautiful. So
Okay.
we look at it in two ways. We are sure about what are necessaries.
Hmm.
Those necessary ones, we want adoption rate above 80%. And the way to work upon them is to keep communicating, keep sharing, think about letting every new guy who comes to you know, talk to cohorts where you're seeing low adoption and crack it.
Hmm.
And for the other ones, which are part of the bouquet approach, the thing is to continuously keep taking feedback from employees and understanding the bouquet that is required and
Hmm.
ensuring the bouquet is available. Like, for example, the most recent one is where we are hearing people talk about the CSR participation.
Hmm.
We have this weekly birthday lunch. Everybody who had a birthday last week would have a
Hmm.
lunch with the directors and the chairman this week. And this is a 52-week calendar. It keeps happening. This happens at our Bombay offices, and then in Delhi office for the guys who work in Delhi, and so on and so forth. Now, this is where we pick these stuff. So about 2 weeks back, we picked up everybody wants to be part of NGOs.
Hmm.
Now, if that's the benefit people want, if that's what they want, this should be in the bouquet.
Yep.
So that's how we will work. Our approach, Pramey, is to ensure that the bouquet keeps getting richer. I'm not worried about adoption rate, and for the necessary services to drive adoption. And
Right.
driving adoption is a tough one,
Hmm.
and it takes patience, it
Hmm.
takes smart communication, and it takes a dedicated team. And I'm lucky to work in a company which is good at communication,
Hmm.
and the team is supercharged.
Great. I think glad to hear. I think these thoughts that hey, having a bouquet is very very important. So my next question is, you're partly covered that how do you create awareness and drive how do you create awareness about the benefits that you're trying to put forth for your employees? So you did mention that you do cohorts, you did communicate via emails, but is there anything specific that can employee come back and give feedback to you? Hey, I'm looking for this, or something like that, and go out of the way and provide this.
So yes, you need to have forums where employees can reach out. Again, almost 20 years back, Pidilite started these listening forums.
Hmm.
Birthday lunch is one of them. We run a program called Sampark, where our head office senior most layer goes across the company and meets people and doesn't talk about what they did last month, but
Hmm.
what is it that they want in future. We have host of other forums, as well as a always on 24 by 7 phone line, help desk, email ID, where you can send your ideas, suggestions, grievances, and we'll keep looking at them. So that's first element,
Hmm.
because awareness is part of communication. Communication is a two-way street. The most
Yep.
important element of communication is leadership.
Hmm.
If HR believes this is their job, uh, I would just want them to understand that uh, it is it is their job to partner the leadership in communication. It is not their job to drive communication.
Hmm.
And I've seen enough number of us lose steam in between, get frustrated, and say, "I'm not getting adequate traction with the leadership." Then my request to my team always has been, go back and sit with them and understand why is this communication not important. But the most important person who will drive change is the leader. And it starts from my chairman and my MD. They have to talk about it. Thankfully, I'm blessed with my chairman and my MD, and now even my deputy MD Sudhanshu, all of
mm,
them strong believer of this. So because they talk about it, the next layer talks about it. Because the next layer talks about it, so does the layer after that, and so on and so forth.
great. I think it's great to hear that it comes from the top. My one question to you is basically what kind of gaps you still see that you want to do more, because as a leadership, I'm sure you want to do more. You want to look for areas where we can improve. We can would want to work together with your team, with partners available in the market. So what is the next thing that you're looking for?
Oh, many. Pramey, I'm always looking for lot of stuff,
Hmm.
but I don't call them gaps. I call them as opportunities.
Hmm.
And that is the moment you change it from gaps to opportunities, the way you think about it changes.
Absolutely.
When you're worried about gap, there is an element of desperation in your approach. When you're thinking of opportunities, you're more centered and more focused on creating value. These are not things that change overnight. And these are not things that you should try and do with your proverbial back against the wall, because you will take shortcuts.
Hmm.
Making a change is a long term commitment, and a thing that you do every day. Listening to your employees is a 24 by 7 job. It's not things that you do on your calendar on a given period of time. Keep listening, keep understanding, and keep identifying. So when this thing came up saying we would want to participate in CSR, we
Hmm.
think we should be giving back to our society, and these are very young guys talking about it.
Hmm.
So when you hear the ideas, then you catch hold of few of those people, and then you say, okay, expand, tell us more about it.
Hmm.
And when you hear, then you start hunting. So I have, for example, a team of 3 people whose only job is to work on these listening forums. They do nothing else, because this is, we are a strong believer on the fact that we don't have to worry about copying our policies and approaches from the market.
Hmm.
you know we don't have to benchmark it to market. Yes, once in a while we must go to market and say what we are doing, are other people doing something different and better.
Hmm.
But our inspiration is not going to come from market or my competitor. Our inspiration is going to come from my employees. I have enough of them,
Hmm.
and they all have great ideas.
Hmm.
Most important, you need to have a culture in your company where employees believe that they are being heard, that they are not talking to the wall. And therefore, as leader, my most important job is, if an employee reaches out to me, he or she will get a response within 24 hours, no matter what the issue is.
Hmm.
Because if they believe it is important enough for them and they can write to me, then it is important enough for me to respond. And if we build this culture, people will give you ideas. I think that's where the trick is missed. And then people are listening to experts, consultants, and so on and so forth, and getting confused. Your employees are your source of clarity. Like for example, a mom doesn't go and figure out what to feed the kid. The
Hmm.
kid tells the mom.
Absolutely, I think that's a great example. My next question is, how do you see technology and more platform adoption as part of your strategy to be used as to deliver more benefits? Because we have heard from a lot of HRs that, hey, having 10 different apps for different products or having 10 different platform, it doesn't help a lot, right? So
You're
uh,
absolutely right. It just doesn't.
plan about it.
But
Yeah.
you need to design your architecture of communication better. You need to Uh, I don't think we go to different internet uh, explorers and Mozillas and Firefoxes to find different things, right? We go to only one place and type Google.
Yep.
Create the Google in your organization. You behind that you might have 25 different apps.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter. How does it matter whether I have 20 apps or 16 apps or 8 apps? The employee should be able to query everything in one place.
Absolutely.
And that's
So I
the
think great. I think that's great to hear. Rahul, and your thoughts are really thought provoking, and it will definitely go a long way across the HR fraternity and people like us who are building products for HR. So very very thank you for joining us and taking out time to speak with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pramey, and I wish you guys all the best. Uh, have a wonderful Tech HR.
Thank you so much, Pramey and Rahul, for an interesting session and for your interesting insights. Become a Twitterati of the day just by sharing your key takeaways from sessions, summaries, and the quotes that inspire you on Twitter. Do not forget to use hashtag TechHRIN and win exciting prizes. Next up, we have another case study on business beyond borders, the power of global hiring. See you on the other side.